Let's keep talking. That's what I do. Let's keep listening, and then I'll talk. What's up, guys? Johan Besser here from Johannesburg, South Africa, vocal coach and music educator. Welcome to the channel, where I'm going to check out today Alison Luff. Now, I've never heard her sing, but I just saw that she did a rendition of She Used to Be Mine, which is one of my favorite songs from a musical ever. So maybe you don't know the history. Sara Bareilles wrote a musical, a Broadway musical. I think it was somewhat autobiographical. It's called Waitress. And then she starred in it herself, and she made the song famous, of course. It is a beautifully crafted song in terms of the writing, lyrically, melodically. Everything in that song is super, super powerful for me, the way it's written. And she sings it incredibly well. So I've not yet heard somebody else sing it as well as her, or better, or equally as good. Maybe with a slightly different slant on it, or whatever. So I'm really keen. I haven't listened to all of this. I've just watched the beginning, like 30 seconds, and I saw, okay, this is live, like in a studio, like a TV studio or something. So I always love it when it's live, because then you can really tell how skillful a singer is, right? So yeah, let's check this out together. She Used to Be Mine by Sara Bareilles, as performed by an actress who also starred in a Broadway version of this musical.
It's not simple to say that most days I don't recognize me, that these shoes and this apron, that place and its patrons have taken more than I gave them. It's not easy to know I'm not anything like I used to be, although it's true I was never attention's sweet center. I still remember that girl.
Wow. Beautiful tone in her voice. Beautiful control. She's obviously a world-class music theatre singer, or maybe she's more than that. Maybe she's also a pop singer, I don't know. But one of the things that music theatre singers, excellent ones, do well is they energize all the sound in all the words. Now you might go, that's a strange statement. Please explain, Johan. Well, let me explain. Energizing all the sound means that her breath flows through the vowels, which is the longer parts of words, obviously. It's not simple to say the and the a. That's the vowel, right? So obviously the breath flows through that beautifully, but it also flows through every consonant in between the vowels. So some people call that articulation or enunciating clearly, but for me, I call it energizing all the sound with your breath. That means you can hear every word really well. Even if this is your first time listening to the song, you will get the whole story of the song very clearly the first time you hear it, because it is sung so well. It's not just beautiful or pretty. It is sung so well technically that you can hear every word and you can follow the story on first hearing. Then she has a beautiful vibrato that she controls. She doesn't let it overwhelm so far. She just chooses to put it in. She sings it a little bit more pop-ish for me. But it doesn't matter. It's a beautiful stylistic interpretation. I loved everything about it so far. I love how focused she is. She's just telling the story with her eyes, really, and her facial expression, right? Because she's not on the Broadway stage with a set and with lighting and stuff. Well, there's lots of pink lights behind her, but I mean, you know, she's not in costume, etc. So to tell the story here skillfully, it's very challenging, and she does that super, super well. I also noticed this is an F sharp. I don't know if that's the original key that it was written in for the musical. I think so, but Sara Bareilles sings it in F. It's not simple to say, a semitone lower, but this is an F sharp. So yeah, just something I noted. Let's keep talking. That's what I do. Let's keep listening, and then I'll talk.
She's imperfect, but she tries. She is good, but she lies. She is hard on herself. She is broken and won't ask for help. She is messy, but she's kind. She is lonely most of the time. She is all of this mixed up and baked in a beautiful pie. She is gone, but she used to be mine.
Sure. So she's a little bit more intense in her vocal delivery than Sara Bareilles is in this part of the song. Sara sings the whole first, she's imperfect. I can't remember the words, but anyway, she sings that whole chorus part, first chorus part, very gently. But Alison here is way more intense with her sound. It's almost like she's struggling, which is her interpretation of the character, right? She's struggling to bring together these two sides of her, like the side that she knew, that innocent girl that, yeah, she's imperfect, but she's kind, you know. She's good, but she lies. But then she's hard on herself. You know, like the struggle is evident in her sound and the way she chooses to sing much stronger on some lines than what I expected. And she sings, "You used to be mine," much longer than in the original version. And now the song gets more intense.
It's not what I asked for. Sometimes life just slips in through a back door and carves out a person and makes you believe it's all true. Now I've got you, and you're not what I asked for. If I'm honest, I know I would give it all back for a chance to start over and rewrite an ending or two for the girl that I knew who was reckless just enough, who gets hurt, but who learns how to toughen up when she's bruised and gets used a man who can't love, and then she'll get stuck.
Hard to interrupt. Yeah, so she makes interesting choices. She often sings on a for a bit longer, not at the ends of phrases, but in the middle of words. I can't remember now exactly in which lyric, in which line that was, but she has done it a few times in this performance. So she makes the vowel shorter and then sings on the which is an artistic, expressive choice that she makes. I'm not 100% convinced that it is super effective all the time for me, but that's very personal. That's subjective. And it could be because I just love Sara Bareilles' version, which is the one that I got to know the song on. But yeah. And then the other thing is, did you notice the massive activity with the lips and the face, right? That's very music theatre. Not in a bad way, that's just the nature of it. You have to be very active with your face so people can really see and follow what you're saying, you know. And then that sound comes that people call the music theatre belt. If you've been watching me talk about these kinds of things for a while, then you'll know that I don't think there's no such thing, I should say, as healthy belting. It's just a lot of air that flows, so it's loud, it's full, but it's not a pressured sound like what belting normally is. Really strong consonants, yeah? Because now it's getting really passionate. Gets used by a man who can't love, you know, those kinds of words. Stuck words like that, really strong, lots of breath on those consonants, which makes it so more intense, right?
And be scared of a life that's inside her, growing stronger each day, till it finally reminds her to fight just a little, to bring back the fire in her eyes that's been gone, but used to be
Sure. Ugh. Okay. Yeah, so I'm not in love with her, the way she shapes her vowels on the high, between the A sharp and the C sharp. And then in the original version, it goes mine, like Sara does a variation on the straight pitch, which she sings straight for much longer. And of course, she has to make it her own. If she stars in the main role in the musical, she can't try to sound like Sara Bareilles, and she's clearly not. She's trying to sound like herself. So she has to find a way to interpret the song in her way, and so that it suits her, and it is authentic to her. So that's fine. I just found the sound a little bit thinner in that range. She still sings very skillfully, but she's lost some of the warmth in the sound for me, just ever so slightly. But very strong, very dramatic, very connected to the character, to the story. Beautifully done. And now the tender ending. I wonder how she's going to interpret that.
She is messy, but she's kind. She is lonely most of the time. She is all of this mixed up and baked in a beautiful pie. She is gone, but she used to be
mine. Nice. Yeah, so like I said in the beginning, it's the first time I've really heard somebody else sing this well on a world-class music theatre singer level. So then she sings the she's messy, but she's kind, the last part, much slower. So the dramatic pause, which I loved, I think it works. And then she sings it slower, which is interesting. I think it's a way to interpret it. I think probably that's the way she performs it when she does it in the musical. It's interesting with musicals and operas, less so with opera, because things are more the way it has to be in operas. But in music theatre, oftentimes, especially if it's a well-known, established, very successful vocalists starring in the main roles, then oftentimes they can determine a lot of the interpretation of their big moments in the musical. It also depends on the conductor and the director. But yeah, I think she probably, even in the stage version, asked for the dramatic pause and asked for the ending to be slower. I don't know. Or maybe she just did it for this version. But I didn't mind it. I think it worked. And it was so breathy, the sound. She's messy, but she's kind. You know, a lot of breath. Breathy sound, when it's used well, is very emotive. And it works for me really well. And then she goes really strong again. Baked in a beautiful pie, with that fuller sound, which for me didn't work as well. But again, that's subjective. That's how I feel as an artist, as a musician. I wouldn't have done it that way. It didn't connect with me as much. I would have loved it if she stayed tender. But again, that's her interpretation of the character. And then the very strong mine. And then the piano. It's a valid choice, but it wouldn't be my choice to end the song. I would end it just in tears, tenderly. She's obviously... She used to be more like, like desperate, dramatic vibes. So I really enjoyed that. Thank you so much to Peter, who suggested that in our Discord community. Please check it out. There's a link below the video, the Charisma Performing Arts Discord community, where you can, in the channel called Suggestions, go and paste links of songs that you want me to consider taking a look at. That's how I came across this and a few other things that I've been doing in the last few months. So yeah, hop on there, become part, chat along, give your feedback, tell us your stories. It's so good to be able to have that platform to connect as people, you and I, people who love the human voice, who love singing, who love music. And yeah, really cool. So thanks, Peter. And thank you for checking out my analysis of this performance of Alison Luff. Until next time, please take care of yourself. Before you go, let me just quickly remind you of two exciting things that is part of our company. The one is a podcast on Spotify, free for everybody, called Voice Matters with Johan Bester. And the second is that we now have a Discord server, Charisma Performing Arts Discord server. I would love it if you would consider joining our community there. The links are in the description.